Hey guys, I see more and more questions about the Tides of Thought gameplay mode creeping up, so let's talk about it. The thing you should be aware of is to not sweat about the permanent rewards. You would have to reach a score here of 3600. That is actually almost impossible. The developers are aware of this issue and they're gonna fix this in version 3.4. So in version 3.3, don't even really try to get this, you will not get it done anyways. What we are figuring out in this video right here are how to get the time limited rewards in the most easiest and convenient way possible. I'm gonna show you how to obtain the most difficult to obtain time limited reward here with a score of 1000 or above. It tells you to equip the flawless right arm number 2 or level 2 and reality defense. That's already gonna be about it. So let me show you how to get this done. There are actually a few ways to make you obtain a little bit of a higher score by default without you really doing anything. First of all, you of course gonna equip what the quest tells you to. That is the flawless right arm on level 2, this one right here. And they told you to equip the reality defense on level 1. So you're gonna go ahead and do that. This alone will not net you a high enough score. So the easiest way to cheese this a little bit is to also increase the mental defense on level 1 for some additional score here. And you can freely equip the level 3 burning left arm. This will give you enough score already to get your mission done, as there are characters here that you can choose for this challenge that give you a little bit of a higher score. If you go here into character selection, you will find characters like, for example, Carcania, that gives you plus 50, right? Here, Body Fairchild Necrologist plus 100, and there are characters like here, Lelani, Enma, etc. Name Day would give you 100, Poltergeist would give you 200. 200 score plus is the most amount you can earn. And this score also counts towards your final score if you have those characters equipped as supporting characters that you see right here on the right hand side of your screen. You can choose Lelani and Enma to cheese yourself a little bit of a higher score here. So you're gonna go ahead and equip Enma. Since we equipped the burning left or right arm level 3, we would love to cleanse a little bit of the burn stacks that are applied to us, and this is why we put Fatutu into the Blood Tide team just for ourselves to be able to cleanse these burn stacks. And the buff that you could choose here is always the default buff. This gives you the most amount of value. So you're gonna go ahead and you play Blood Tide with Fatutu in it. You can replace here the medicine pocket with like a sentinel or anything like that. Doesn't really matter. All that matters is that you cleanse the burn with Fatutu. Your second team doesn't matter too much. I would still recommend you play Dynamo with Lucy because of plus 50 points, and here you're gonna choose Lelani because of the 200 extra score, right? Don't forget about that. As the buff here, default buff is always going to be your best choice. For the Dynamo archetype, I chose Moxie Surge, but it doesn't really matter. Take any buff here of your liking. Now there is a second phase to this boss here. So you can tackle this in multiple different ways. Either here you go as easy as possible and you complete this on autoplay without choosing any perks here whatsoever, and you will still obtain more than 1000 score anyways because of the original challenge here, the number 1, right? Challenge number 1. There is a little bit of an issue here that could occur because this boss here with all of these perks, I chose here Nightmare Course Plant level number 2 by the way, for an additional extra score. If you do it like I do right here, then the boss might be a little bit too strong and you will not be able to dish out the damage that you need to beat it in 20 turns. I did it of course quite easily because my Nautica is P5. Your Nautica might not be P5, so you will struggle maybe a little bit with the damage output here. If that would be the case, then you can get rid, for example, of the burning left arm, or you can choose something else here, or nothing at all from the nightmare score planned 2, right? You can get rid of the mental death depending on what team you actually play. And that would lead to you, of course, losing a little bit of score here, but making the boss easier. And then you choose some very easy perks right here, just to increase your rating a little bit and get to these 1000 points. You will have to experiment here when it comes to this exact setup a little bit for yourself. If you struggle with this first boss, just equip the 2 perks that it told you in the quest here, the Flawless Right Arm on 2 and the Reality Death. If you still would struggle, play a team here that would excel at dealing mental damage. Because, and then you don't take the mental damage defense plus 50% here, obviously, and you put these perks then into the challenge number 2 to cheese your score. Yeah, that's all I can tell you about that. Let's hop into battle and let me talk a little bit more about this fight in battle. Alright, here we are. Pretty much the only thing that you have to know about this fight is that you accumulate here suns or moons, either one of those two. How do you accumulate these suns and moons? By using a different amount of buffs or debuffs per turn. For example, if I would use a buff this turn, but not a debuff, then I would go buff +1 and that would generate me a sun. If I do use more debuffs than I would use buffs this turn, I would generate a moon. Once I accumulated either 2 moon or 3 in total, 2 moons and a sun would put me into the moon state, so to speak. And those states is something that you want to avoid. These states, they grant the buffs, they grant the beneficial buffs to your opponent. Plus, if you go into the sun mode, your opponent would gain AP +1, and in the moon state you would lose, you would go -1 AP. That is something that you want to always, every single time, avoid. Fatutu helps with us because she has both a buff and a debuff incantation. So what this means in the end is that whenever you would use a buff this turn, you would also need to use 1 debuff. Never use more buffs or debuffs a turn ever to avoid generating these suns and moons. I do this right here, for example. You can see this if you pay attention to your screen. Every single time I buff Nautica with Semmelweis, I do make 100% sure that I also use a debuff incantation with, for example, Medicine Pocket or Fatutu for that matter. Right? You get the point. That is the only important thing that you have to keep or be aware of in this very fight. Other than that, you would just choose the right perks at the beginning of the fight, choose your the correct team, right? I mean, Dynamo and Bloodhate get this done easily. As I said in the beginning, if this fight would be too hard because of the perks, you can balance this out by making the second fight tougher a little bit and the first fight weaker in case you wouldn't have enough damage. And then you will see that in the very end of this fight, we have over 1400 score here accumulated. So you have a little bit of breathing room when it comes to how strong you make the first fight or how strong you make the second fight. Right here is the score that I accumulated, right? You did see it, 1451. And I didn't even really try, you know what I mean? It's just really that easy with the Bloodhate. And here you can see, boom, we have the most difficult rewarded for us in a very easy and convenient way. I did the second fight on autoplay. You can make the second fight, as I said many times by now, a little bit more difficult. You play this actively then, and you will have absolutely no issue grabbing all of your rewards. For the other rewards, right, you can, I mean, you are able to read. You can just see here that equip sturdy right arm number 2 and poisons left arm 2, final damage dealt up. You're gonna go ahead, you're gonna pick these exact buffs that are on your screen right here for the first fight, and for the second fight you just add a little bit of perks there to accumulate enough score. I just want you to reach a rating here of 600 or above. For the other one it's a score of 700 and above. It is really completely free real estate if you do it like I just showed you, and that's about it for the video, guys. I hope this was fun and informative. If you like Reverse 1999 content in general, or if you have any questions concerning this mode still, feel free to hit me up in the comment section down below, or join the Discord server. There is a link to that in the description down below. But that's it for me, guys. Take care of yourselves, have a great day, and we love this game.